Hey, hey, and good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Boy, is this a delightful day for me, for Carrie. We're going to get started in 2.5 minutes. We're going to play a bit of music as you come on. Please go in the chat. Tell us where you are, where you're hanging out. Chris Allen is in Nashville. Cory is in Denver. Carrie is in Chandler, close to Chandler, and I'm in near North. I'm just floating. I think I'm near North Carolina. I'm East Coast. So hang out, listen to a few tunes, and we'll be right with you.
So Kathy, do you want to hear my podcast name? Chris, I was talking to Kathy and I came up with the name of my podcast, if and when I ever do it.
Yeah.
Does she have pants on?
That's perfect.
A, because it's a good question, and B, because like any topic goes. We can talk about anything.
I like that. It might get pushed into some categories that in searches that you may
might get a little SEO benefit from that.
You may get some good Google juice on that. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
You'd get banned.
I think we've got to open up
chat.
I think I do it.
One, Dan Wilson.
Got it open, Kath.
Okay, where are you guys? Let's hear from you.
Dallas. Ooh, I bet it's toasty in Dallas.
I love Dan Wilson. Can I tell you all how much I love him?
So good. El Paso. I know, me too. Well,
I think we could make up a song about each city.
We could. We won't, but we could.
Kingman.
Temecula.
This
is my favorite part. We should just get on and do this.
Let's just do this for the next hour. Show us where in the world.
Shout out.
I love Carmen. Carmen, you're going to get a special little tribute today, so hang on.
Arizona, Sedona, and Cottonwood in 3 places at once. That's impressive.
Jeff,
hey, I was on the phone earlier with somebody in Beaufort, South Carolina, that had walked by the office there. Do we have Beaufort, South Carolina on the line? I'd love to know.
Good shout out.
Give me like a smiley face, a wave, something crazy.
And also it's Chris Allen's at Music City in Nashville. That's so cool. So if you're looking at his backdrop, Music City. Love it.
Beaufort, and you know what? Congratulations, you said that correctly. You're Hilton Head.
Well, how would you say it wrong?
Beaufort.
I don't think so.
If you want me to mess it up, give it to me, and I put a lot of extra syllables in it. And Carrie, I'm not hearing the music, but that is okay. We are ready to rock, and we're ready to rock and roll. Chris,
that's a good one. That is a good one.
Chris, take it away. Take it away. Nice to have everyone. Welcome to One Primetime. Today is a very special edition because Carrie and I are welcoming extremely special guests today. Our president, Cory Vasquez, and our very special consultant, partner, friend, reliable voice, person we all lean into, Chris Allen. Chris, I have to tell you that every time I'm in a conversation, I mention your name, people go, we love him. So guys, you've told us where you're from. Thank you. What we would like to see now is if you're in a watch party, let us know. If you're in a watch party, call it thank you. She's given us some little bit of
how to say
help on how to pronounce. Yeah.
I'm
We're not going to talk about Fuquay-Varina, which is where she lives. Hey,
hey, Kathy, I'm a huge fan of all these AI assistants. I think this is amazing. I'm glad that they're joining us from all over.
Yeah, let's say welcome.
Welcome to all the AI assistants.
Welcome, AI.
Yeah.
Thank you for changing our lives.
Okay, watch party. Scott Bergman's having a watch party. Pam is having a watch party in Longview. They are the best. They usually send me pictures. Dan Wilson is making an AI clone of Chris working. So let's talk about Summit. First of all, those of you in the chat line, have you registered? Are you planning to attend? Thank you for showing up today. We have to believe that our discussion is going to be so compelling. You have to join.
Amy Ekstrom, yay.
Yay, yay, yay. So when you've attended conferences in the past, what has been the motivation behind it? Cory and Chris, you've both attended things in the past. You've conducted them. Chris, you're doing one right now. You're kind of taking a little break to join us from doing that. What is compelling? What is the reason?
Chris, go for it. I'll let you jump in.
Okay. I think people attend things for 3 reasons. Number 1, you just like to party and you come for the party. Number 2, you come for the content, or number 3, you come for the community and you love just the people you're around. And so there are 3 reasons people will attend something. None of them are right or wrong, but that in my mind, those are the 3. Cory?
To be honest with you, I have to make myself do it. I really have to make myself do it. It's not optional. It's a make myself do it kind of gig, because there are, and I can tell, trust me, when I look at the comment section and the people that are on, we are all so busy, kids and family and work, but I have to make myself do it. I don't want to go on a long diatribe, but I listened this morning in preparation for Summit. I was listening to Jay Shetty interview Tony Robbins on his podcast. Mind blowing, right? Like just everything that Tony Robbins says, the study, the work, the ethic that he has, all the things that he does. And I'm not a Tony Robbins person. I haven't seen him in person. I've read a couple books, but I just haven't done the Tony Robbins experience. Is again, if you know, he'll be at Summit. Michelle Maiman, my friends out there who are hopefully on this call, are big Tony Robbins people. He in an hour this morning while I was on my walk, he blew my mind. But the point was, he talks about all of these things, the biochemistry behind having more energy, working harder, getting farther in life. But at the end of this podcast with Jay Shetty, he said you also have to have the emotional aptitude and the joy to live life. You can extend your life as long as you want with all of these drugs and cryogenics and things like that, but you have to have joy. When I go to Summit, it's when I leave, it's the joy. We hope as we're planning Summit, we've got these amazing coaching sessions and all the things, but the joy that we experience while we're there, the feeling of what you said, Chris, community, the feeling of getting to experience our culture is huge. I don't work in an office. I get to be in the Denver office today, which is amazing. So yes, I have pants on, but I don't get to be around that camaraderie anymore. So I just
Prove it. I wanted to just add one thought that there's actually science behind this too. Under anxiety or stress, which, listen, let's be honest, the market has not always been easy over the last 2.5+ years. Under anxiety and stress, human beings isolate. We think that the thing we need is to isolate. And you saw it during COVID. And when a market is down and people are under stress and anxiety, we even do it in our personal lives, in the stress of relationships or kids or whatever else, we tend to isolate. The problem is that is the exact worst thing we can do under stress. And what actually reduces stress and reduces cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone, is to actually be around other people in community. And so what's actually happening when you show up to Summit is that you are reducing your stress and cortisol levels by getting around other people, sharing stories, smiling, laughing. Laughter is the most contagious emotion. And so it's like you have to push yourself outside of what your brain wants to tell you, which is go isolate, and make the investment for your own positivity and for your own motivation. So stop isolating.
Yeah. And also decreasing cortisol level decreases love handles, right, Chris?
True.
I'm not going to say anything because I did my go-to today, Carrie, my dipping my Cheetos in peanut butter. So you're going to be able to hang on good. That's all I'm going to say. But I just, we did our recording of the podcast on Friday, and Sabag and Jason and Josh and I were talking about a little bit about Summit. And I wish I had in a bucket the amount of money I've spent attending events, because the investment would be in one bucket, the return would be in a barrel. Because my goal every time I've gone has been, I just need to walk away with one thing that is executable, because we can read and we can learn, but if we don't associate, adopt, and then implement it, we can learn all we want. So the return on that investment is huge. Is it expensive to go? Absolutely. Is it expensive not to go? It's more expensive. What you lose by not participating, not networking. One challenge right now, and this is an actionable item, if you're in a watch party, look at your broker and say, what are my feeder markets? So what I mean by that is, if you're in Denver, Colorado, where are people moving from? Where are they moving to? If you're in Nashville, Tennessee, I had this conversation yesterday with Daniel Collins' group, and it was a lot of people are coming from California. In and Out is moving from California to Franklin, Tennessee. Where are people moving back to? Conversation last week, a lot of Myrtle Beach, North Carolina, shout out to Dockside, is coming from Pennsylvania, New Jersey. So find out where that is, and that's your contact. That's the person you buy a drink. That's the person you walk in the sand with. So that's your actionable item from this call, is go find out who that is. So I hear what we're talking about is not only attending, participating, implementing, but mindset. Chris, do you want to talk? You got any examples of that?
Yeah. Well, let's talk mindset for a moment, because belief drives behavior. And some of you have kind of heard me talk about this before, but what you believe about something will drive your behavior. So some of you are probably sort of sitting around and maybe doubting, gosh, I don't like the speakers, or I wish they had such and such, or why did they do it in Miami? I want to go back to Las Vegas, or I wish that, XYZ. Well, somehow those are your beliefs and they're driving behaviors. So whatever beliefs you have will ultimately drive the behavior to invest in something or not. So let's just talk for a moment about what you might need in this season more than anything else, because a shift in mindset might be important. So there are a lot of different illustrations and analogies, but let's talk goldfish versus shark for just a moment.
We're going to go to the ocean.
Yeah.
We're in
Yeah, let's talk water. Let's talk water. Now, what's interesting is I don't know how many goldfish are hanging around in Miami these days, but if you're a goldfish, you're in a glass bowl. By the way, some of you know where this illustration is coming from because a book was written. So this is not original to anything that we're talking about. But a goldfish in a glass bowl, they're just hanging out in a very small area. By the way, they keep swimming around and around, and they keep experiencing the same issues. It's truly the definition of insanity. Honestly, like doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And you're just going around and around. And the nice thing about being a goldfish, though, is that somebody is going to literally feed you on a regular basis. Like just drop a little more food in here. And I could imagine being a goldfish and complaining that my food didn't arrive on time. Or, man, I sure wish that they would mix up the food tomorrow. Why do I keep eating the same thing? Now, on the flip side, a shark, totally different experience. Totally different experience, because a shark if you've read Blue Ocean Strategy, in a blue ocean has to actually go in search for food, but has autonomy, has the competence to do it, isn't sitting around, floating around and around and around, waiting to be fed, but is out there attacking an opportunity. And so one thought around mindset is, how do we get outside of this goldfish mentality where we just circle something over and over? Hey, man, I sure really wish that the interest rates would change. Hey, if such and such happened, I could actually do my work. Hey, if the organization did XYZ, if this leader did this, then I would be fine. Honestly, that's the equivalent of like, who's going to drop the food in the bowl? And I just think from a mindset standpoint, let's get around one another and let's create some sharks who are ready to go out into the blue ocean and attack something, because we can't control certain things about this market. We can't control certain things about interest rates, but what we can control are our own behaviors. And that's how we get out of the cycle of the fishbowl waiting to be fed. That's just maybe a mental concept, an image that we can keep circling.
Well, and when we talk about that, let's break that apart a little bit if we can, Chris. The scarcity mentality of waiting for someone to walk up to the bowl, waiting for them to drop in food, hoping it's enough, is what the media is telling us. It's, oh, they're only going to be 4 million transactions this year, this, all that. It's a very scarcity mentality. It's here is your limit. Go swim bigger. The whole key to this is you can wait there and be fed, or guess what? There's enough in the ocean, not only to survive, but to thrive.
Yeah. Kathy, can I add one other thought?
Yeah.
And then I'd love to just turn it over to others. This is the idea of like innovation 101. In the world of innovation, there's one question, and maybe I'll talk more about this at Summit, but the question is, what if? What if? And I think we get stuck in, let me give you one other illustration, the blockbuster mentality, thinking that everything will remain the same forever, that we will always return a VHS rewound for fear of the 3-day late fee, and that we will always have to walk into a store and choose between the 7 new releases. And if they're not there, we have to come back another time. And Netflix said, what if? They started mailing DVDs. They kept asking, what if? And now every one of us can watch a new release all at the same time. And I just think more of us need to be asking, what if, instead of, man, where's my food going to come from next? Just circling the same thing over and over. So what if is the question that I would love for everyone to ask. So as you're thinking about Summit, what if your investment quadrupled your business in the next 12 months? What if you picked up one new idea that could revolutionize your business in the next 6 months of kind of the first half of 26? So anyway, that's my last thing. I'll stop talking and turn it over.
I have a question. Can I ask one thing? Because I'll have to get out my calculator and take my shoes off to do this math. If everyone would, please put your average commission in the box. Like, what is your average commission earned? And that's going to be based on your sales price and all that. So thank you, Sarah Evans. You're the quickest to the draw. So I want everybody to do
Kathy,
that.
while they're doing that, can I just add in Jim Dietrich's, thank you, like said, I mean, putting Brian Buffini and Tony Robbins on stage together, we've priced out that ticket just to see what it would be like to attend a Tony Robbins 3-hour event and a Brian Buffini hour, and we're upwards of $1,500 to $2,000. So that's, I mean, if you just attended that day of summit, that would be the cost to you.
I was going to say too, I mean, talking about the mindset, it's really easy to put up the hurdle of, I can't, it's Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks, I can't go, or the hurdle of the kids are busy doing whatever, or I can't afford it, or whatever those hurdles are. But changing the mindset a little bit to kind of barrel that down and say, what if I went anyway? What if I started saving now and made that effort? And what if when I got there, I was open-minded enough to enjoy myself and to people and look at Cuba running around, hugging everybody, and just get that infectious behavior and having the motivation, whether or not you have the right conversations or go to the right breakouts or whatever. I think it's so important to have that mindset of excitement and leave with that motivation, because if nothing else, that motivation is going to lead you to something better when you get back.
Did you guys see what Amanda Miller put in the chats? Top producer went from 3 million to 14 in 1 year, 60% from referrals made from Summit.
Totally. Conversations and the right motivation, you're going to leave with those referrals.
And Julie, thank you for speaking up for new agents. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Julie, you might not know me yet, but you will know I don't do math well. So thank you for everyone who contributed what your commission is. Thank goodness I can say an average of $10,000. Evan Harrell, I love you abundantly because yours is 10,102. But let's just say 10,000. And Chris, let's monetize what you were saying. What if, and Julie, this is for you, because I mean, let's not kid it. It's going to be coming from somewhere else for you to do this. It's an investment. It's not money laying around. We get that. We really, really appreciate that. Now, what if, Julie, what if you do what Amanda did and you make the investment and you get 2 referrals? What if you get 2 ideas? Now your investment, the ROI on that is 40,000 less whatever you spend. So that's the mindset I've always encouraged. When I had an office, I always said to my agents, let's go out there and let's see, what is it going to take to reimburse you for this? What is it going to take? What activities is it going to take? And we planned. What I'm saying is, don't go down there and go, woohoo, what do I do now? Be intentional. That's what hunters do. That's what business people do. You're business people. Is it for the party? Absolutely. You know what? We could make that cocktails community and content. I was trying to think of another C. So you can make it about the cocktails, but it needs to be, and not that what happens in the bar isn't important. What happens on the beach is important. What is more important is, what am I going to learn from Brian Buffini? What am I going to be able to take and implement today? What am I going to be able to take from an AI session? What am I going to be able to take from a team session? What am I going to be able to take from technology, whatever that is, and it become actionable?
It should be a no-brainer to tweak just a little something based on what you got there to come back and have one additional transaction, and then it more than pays for your trip.
Can we go from the practical back to the mindset really quick? Yeah. Just because I'm not as practical as you guys, and I love the very tangible, like, this is what you'll get, this is what you'll come away with, the referral, the dollars, whatever. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm a big universe person, and I'm also a big put things out in the universe, and the universe will come back, right? And so one of my favorite books is You Are a Badass at Money, which is Jen Sincero wrote. I love it because I probably you guys don't know this about me, but I'm the cheapest person you will know and meet. And it's really hard for me to invest forward. Like, I'll invest in something that I know will pay dividends, but it's very hard for me to take the leap of faith and then invest forward. You Are a Badass is all about putting it out in the universe, spending the money, knowing that it'll return to you in some way, shape, or form. And actually, I just handed that book off to my daughter, who is spending her summer as a food server, which we all should do at some point. but she came home the other day and put her head in her hands and said, I'm not making any money. I'm like, yeah, I know. We all start somewhere, right? I think that there's a part of people out there that are as impractical as me, but as cheap as me. And I want to just tackle this head on. It's expensive. It's expensive to buy the ticket. It's expensive to get the hotel, and it's expensive to eat the food while you're there. But it's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in what the universe will provide for you if you open these doors. If you go and be part of a community, like you said, Chris, and we just ran the data the other day about the number of people who are coming and the years of experience they have in the business. And it's impressive. It's impressive. And most of the people that I see in the chat have been to not only one summit, but they keep coming back. And there's got to be a reason for that. There has to be a reason for that.
I'll plus that. I think the other thing that we need to talk about is each one of us becomes the average of the 5 people we hang around with most. And I just think that, back to the isolation comment that I made earlier, I think sometimes we think I'm going to solve my way out of this by going into a hole, thinking my way through it. And that is not how most people solve things. Most of us will get out of something because we get around 5 or so people who encourage us, who lift us up, who keep us going, motivate us, give us great advice, give us good ideas, keep us moving forward. It's when we lose that sense of community and tribe that we actually increase in stress. And then we isolate more and we become frozen under fear. It's the fear response. So my encouragement is to basically reprogram your brain. It's like reprogram the neural pathways and think again. Adam Grant has a great book, but think again and realize that you are wired towards a bias, and that really what you need to do is make sure you're getting around 5 people who can up your average. And I can't think of a better environment to up your average than to just be in an environment with lots of other people. And pick your 5. Go for the best 5 you can. Shoot, you should be looking through this list at who's got the highest average. Go find them. Get around those 5 people.
Cory, just so you know, your message only went to panelists.
I saw that first, but I just changed it to everyone.
Oh, okay. Okay. I want to just shout out to a couple of people who have done this so well. Melissa Sherlin, who is masterful. You need to meet Melissa and Dustin from Chattanooga, Tennessee. She's saying she's still getting referrals from 2021, the first summit she attended. So it's about intention. It's about putting it in the universe and then be aware of what's going on. So we want you to have a plan. We want you to be intentional. We want you to really, really think big. Melissa said, we've got that on our wall and a lot of people don't do it. I want to be vulnerable a minute and just say, Chris, I struggle with that daily. It's that almost confinement of post-COVID where people are not going back into the office. People are able to produce very well and very successfully outside of the tribe. But mentally, it doesn't serve us well. And, I always say the good news is, I don't know if it's good news, but I don't watch Hallmark. I'm not a Hallmark person. I'm more of a Dateline. And the good news about that is I will be charged but not convicted. But I don't have that Hallmark sense. I don't have that tribal sense. And that's just not my nature anyway. But man, I need the tribe. I'm going to be vulnerable and say, I'm super, Carrie, I don't want to speak for you, but you're nodding your head. I need to be in the tribe. I'm constantly saying, who am I talking to make sure I'm getting good ideas, to make sure that I'm being fed, which is why I appreciate the 3 of you so much. Give us feedback.
I love that, because that's very much about you. But I think what I want to point out to everybody is one of the great things about our team at Realty One Group, and especially the team that's creating Summit. So all things Summit, from the marketing team to the coaching learning departments, Chris Allen, you guys, we're all such different personalities. We're all very diverse. And I think safe to say then we're creating a summit, an event we do every year that parts of it speak differently to different people. So you may not be a cocktail hour person and you may not want to stay at the bar till late and hug people and shake hands and whatever, but you may go for the coaching and education. We've put together 2 days of full-on coaching and education, plus then Brian Buffini and Tony Robbins. You may go for that mindset, that motivation, carry that CNU girls And you guys at the One Walk in your pink tutus, just ready to do it and loving it and excited like you make it go for that. And that's something too, as we pointed out at the top of the hour, Chris, that's something about being around your tribe and having the mindset and leaving reinvigorated. So there's pieces and parts of it. And every time we survey after Summit, we get people who say, well, I didn't love the party and I didn't love the whatever. And we get that. We totally get that. But we're doing pieces and parts of it and we're trying to hit all the 6 C's in the event. Every year we plan the event with the 6 C's in mind because that's what we're based on.
That's great. So obviously, as we've been kind of planning Summit, we're trying to create the space and the time for each one of you to get what you want out of Summit. So we realize that the entire agenda might not be completely aligned with exactly what you want, but I can promise you that, hey, if you're coming for the cocktails, it's Miami.
There will be
It's Miami.
cocktails.
If you're coming for the community, we're trying to leave a lot of space for people to connect, for you to connect. We're going to continue to encourage that. And the event is set up for that. Kathy, if you're coming for content, we have loaded up on a lot of content across a lot of different topics with faces you've seen before, new faces, people who are actually practitioners and do the work, and trying to make this as practical as possible for both the agent and the broker. Maybe we should start telling people, here's some of the content that you can expect.
I love that. And another word I want to add to that is relatable. For me, one thing that's incredibly important is, do I want to play with better golfers? Absolutely. Swim with better swimmers? Yes. Do I want to be a shark? Yes. Be proud to be a shark. But I want it to be relatable and I want it to be consumable. And what I mean by that is, Chris, I think we were very intentional in scheduling this out to say, I can do that. I can achieve that, so that you walk away feeling in the workshops that we're doing with, man, that's applicable to my business, my market today. And then, then it's like the sprinkles of the crescendo, or whatever analogy you want to use, with Buffini and Tony Robbins. And I just want to give a shout out to Marianne Whitaker. And she brought something to mind that I'm not avoiding your question. I'm highlighting it. Marianne, they're in Washington and they've got 18 people in the room and they're absolutely some of our biggest brand ambassadors and we love them so much. But she said, I'm in the room with the people I love. And I believe also that thing that has always astounded me about this event, Cory, and you've attended other events with other brands, and I have with a lot of different brands. So this is not specific to any one brand other than Realty One Group. We are so inclusive. And the E in our golden of equality and support. Chris, that's one thing I love. Probably my favorite part is to sit in the room and experience acceptance and love, regardless of production, regardless of any of the things, but just totally see the one family. And that sounds so trite. It sounds...
It's so true, Kathy. And can I just say, I hope my New Jersey friends are on here. But I went to New Jersey a couple months ago, and this Colorado girl was a fish out of water in Jersey. Like I don't know that they knew what to do with me, and I didn't know what to do with myself in Jersey. And they were so wonderful and accepting to me. I went to Jamaica a couple weeks ago, fish out of water. Holy stink. And they were just so loving and wonderful. There is nothing like it. It may sound trite, Kathy, to people who don't experience it, but there is nothing like the Realty One Group family. Chris.
No, it wasn't even that important anymore. The bottom line is like getting around people and sharing ideas. It just reminds me like back to like 7th and 8th grade science, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Each one of us
I missed that week. Okay, wait a minute. You need to slow down because honestly, I missed that week. That was 7th grade. I'm sure I did. Go ahead. Mono, go ahead.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs is like just a model that says each one of us has the same needs that need to be met. And how we meet those needs is really important. But you have this baseline of physiological needs, and that's air, water, food, shelter. Then you have safety needs. And that's where employment is found, because it's employment that actually pays to keep you safe. Then you have what's called love and belonging. Each one of us needs to feel like we're a part of something. That's why the brand at Realty One Group is so important. Like that's why the apparel and the merch and the gear and all that stuff and the branding is so important, because you feel like you're a part of something. You're the tribe. Then you have self-esteem. each one of us wants to feel like we're growing in self-esteem. We're feeling more competent, confident in ourselves. And that's really important. And the top of the pyramid is something that he called self-actualization, becoming the best version of yourself. And we've tried, even in the content and the topics, to create a place where you can feel love and belonging, grow in self-esteem and confidence with the tools, strategies, with business planning, with how to lead people. Like, all these topics are included. And then the goal would be that you come away from this time feeling like you can be the best version of yourself in 2026. And that follows what Maslow would say each one of us needs. So, Kathy, I'm not going to let you avoid this question.
She totally is, Chris. You're gonna have to pin her down.
I
gonna
want
answer
you to
it.
first time out. I want you to look at Esteem, no pun intended. And they're some of our biggest Kansas City fans, which, by the way, one of my favorite shows is filming in Kansas City starting this week, re-release. But he's got self-actualization. And I think that's probably Brian. If it's not, it's Jessica. But I love that. I love that we can be fed. We're going to cover topics from implementation of social media to how to take that, what key people are doing, and their movement of the sessions in the morning. We're going to have multiple options for people to choose that they would like to go in and attend. Some of the sessions are going to be repeated. We're going to have use of AI, which is a hot topic. We're going to have social media. We're going to have video. So we're going to tap into all those ways of communication and what is effective. Again, what are leaders doing today that makes that is providing the greatest opportunity for them. There are going to be sessions on leadership. There was a question there, and I don't want to avoid that, of are we having specific for leadership? Absolutely, we're having leadership that can be applicable to owners, affiliates, team leaders, rainmakers. Those of you that are leading others are going to have opportunities for learning there. We're going to have for brokers, profitability, ways to recruit. We want to talk about how do we keep you in production? How do we do things daily? We're not going to feed you from the top of the goldfish bowl. We're going to give you opportunity to swim and grasp what you want. How do you grow stronger? I thought there was a lot of activity, but it's not.
And I think, Kathy, fair to say, like, I think we're kind of high leveling things today, but we've released the bigger agenda, the overall agenda, which is on OneSummit2025.com. So you can go out and see that agenda. That includes everything from the welcome reception, the one walk, the women's luncheon. Please, please, please sign up for the women's luncheon. That's such a fun event every year. And all of those things are on OneSummit2025.com. Go check that out. But we'll start issuing out the sessions because we've worked really hard, and thank you guys for your patience, but we worked really hard on these sessions. So we didn't scrape from the industry and what they're doing. We just took our own, like, what feedback are we getting from our network? What are they really interested in? And we've created these sessions. We're going to start feeding that out to you. Look for the one-on-ones on Wednesdays. That's where we're highlighting all things Summit. And so we'll start feeding out those sessions so that you can start planning. I also wanted to say Jim Dietrich had said something, and I struggle with this at the conventions that I go to, or the events that I go to, is I go and I learn things and then I walk away. And I am that age where very little sticks unless I'm very purposeful about it. We're creating a one scorecard this year for Summit, which is going to help you organize your thoughts and your takeaways. And so, yes, Scott Bergman even said it can be very overwhelming because you come up with 20 different things that you want to take home. We're going to create a scorecard. We're going to send it to you before Summit so you can start thinking and preparing for Summit and the things that you want to get out of Summit. And then when you leave, you'll finish that scorecard, bring it home, put it on a desk, laminate it, set it on your desktop, whatever, to help this event really be what we want it to be.
Yeah. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. And I believe that there's probably a few people who are kind of sitting in listening, and they're like, listen, I sometimes feel like there are these really great speakers on stage, but they're coming at a business that I can't relate with because I'm just not there. I'm too small. I don't have that. I don't have that resource. I don't have whatever. And so in your mind right now, you're saying this just won't be practical. I think being a part of the planning, I think what you, if that's you, need to understand is we've got speakers that are going to be taking the stage on all things practical, who are actual practitioners from small to large. On kind of Monday's agenda of coaching and learning, for every hour block, we have 4 topics for agents and 2 topics for brokers. And so we're trying to make things highly, highly practical for each one of you, regardless of kind of the phase of growth or I don't know, the experience as an agent that you have. And so don't think that just if you're a new agent and you've never closed a deal, you'll learn something. If you're an experienced agent and you've closed a lot of deals, you'll still learn something. But maybe the most important reason you can be here is to help the first time agent learn a few things. Imagine what we could do if we could help one another. Rising tide lifts all boats, ships, whichever way you want to talk about the analogy or the illustration. But I really do believe there's something for everybody, and let's get in community.
And to summarize that, I think what we've been intentional about, Chris, is the key to coaching, which Carrie and I know is meet people where they are. And we want you to not the shotgun approach, not this is a rifle. This is a way to feed you where you are and where to get you to that next level.
And we talked about, first time agents, new agents, experienced agents. Let's talk about some of the other specialties that we have now and how we're to your point, Chris, build communities. So I think obviously our One Lux agents will have space there. We have a One Lux certification. You can take that course on Sunday before Summit starts, but we're going to be organizing and communing our One Lux luxury agents. That's an awesome place to meet, greet, talk to, network, whatever, your luxury folks. And even if you want to get into luxury, that would be an awesome place to do that. Our military folks, Jackie Liberto, shout out to her. We've been working with her on let's get our military folks together. You guys who service military bases or in military communities, and have that specialty. Let's start organizing you, get you together and let you commune, especially Realty One Group Commercial is launching this year. We're coming out of the gate with it. It's not perfect. It's not late, but this is a place to go. We have commercial sessions. We're going to get our commercial folks together and let's talk about what more we can do with you to assist you to build that brand within a brand. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities within your niches to network and commune as well. So I just wanted to make sure we pointed those out.
Well, and we've got a guest coming from the Institute to talk about luxury. Again, that commercial is hot. We're super excited about that and the opportunity around that. Again, the technology, the implementation, there's going to be the marketplace for you to be able to touch and feel and speak to some of the people. Some of those people are presenting, and I want to be very intentional when you look at the agenda and you see that they are not there to sell product. They are there because they are subject matter experts. So a lot of the people you've heard on the podcast, a lot of the people you've experienced in other ways, they've been on One Primetime, they've been on the podcast, and now you're going to get to see them in person and you're going to get to see what are they doing. What is Luke Aker doing that's working on open houses, which is kind of a best kept secret. He talked about it on the podcast, but we've never really featured it. So I love that one-on-one talk to be able to say, this is what I do, Chris, as you're speaking to in your market. This is what I need help with. This is what I want. That's what this is going to be about.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Brian Buffini for a minute? Brian Buffini. Is there anyone out there like me that's a Brian Buffini fanatic? I think there was a time at which he might have had a restraining order against me, but there are some people, and I don't know if this happens for you, Chris, because you listen to so many people, but there are some people that just speak to you. And again, to summits, we've had a lot of, somebody said great inspirational speakers. We've had a lot of great inspirational speakers and coaches with great life stories along the last 6 years that I've been doing Summit. Brian Buffini has always been one of my favorite, and maybe he doesn't speak to you, but I think there are some people out there like me who he is an immigrant story. He's a come from nothing kind of guy. And it's just been prowess and drive and strength and determination. And he's poured everything he owns and has into real estate. And so we have had some great speakers. Clearly, Shaq was one of my favorite in the past. But this time we've really focused on the coaching and the learning and the motivation and the mindset because of what we've been through the last couple of years and the mindset that we want to continue to have in the next year, 2, 3 years. So I've just said it. I'm a Buffini fan.
Cory, I have an important question for Cory.
Please.
Is your mom still talking with Shaq?
They Facebook. It's a thing. I continue to plead. That was never set up. It's just God's sense of humor. He has an amazing sense of humor with me.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Kathy.
What I love about Brian and this strategic partnership we are developing with him is he is a relationship guy, and he believes in enhancing and building the relationship. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it real briefly. The choice was intentional with him because he's so practical, so fundamental, so executable, and his due diligence to bring in what's new, what's next is incredible. So it's a perfect alignment of us with them. I have to tell you, Cory, real quick, that the first time I met him, and I should be embarrassed to tell this, but I feel like I can be vulnerable today. I was at another brand and we were going between the venue and the hotel by bus. And so this precious little man, this was probably 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, is standing at the bus door. And I thought it was the bus driver. And so I said, hey, how are you? And I'm just talking to him. And he's sitting there. He said, nice to see you. And I thought, well, isn't that? I think the bus driver's from Ireland. And I get on the bus and sit down, swear to goodness. He gets on and sits beside me. And I was like, well, dadgum, that's not the bus driver. That's Brian Buffini. And it was like, I didn't even know who he was, but we had the most incredible conversation about his family and his kids, because he's got a bunch. And everything about him is it's just somebody you feel like you've known a long time. And who knows, he may be able to.
And he knows you guys, like he knows the agent. And that's one of the things that I continue every time I travel or talk to people about this brand and why this brand. It's the community and the culture and the all the wonderful things. But it's also, by the way, we are still driven, operated, founded by, very much involved in with a person who was an agent. So Kuba was an agent, and there is something to say about that. I don't have that experience. I have a lot I hope to offer you guys in my role and as part of this brand. But man, when you say that Brian Buffini was an agent, did the agent job, has lived it, has walked it, has door hung, has knocked on doors, has been through all of these types of markets, there's just nobody better to listen to than that. So even if you're not a Buffini fan, even if you're not a stalker, as am I, it's just something that where I promise you're going to get something from a Buffini conversation. And that's what they are, is conversations.
And when I hear someone like Jim Dietrich and Rob Spearman, who I just have so much respect for as a producer, as a leader, say, yeah, I've been working with him for 20 years. It reinforces, Cory, everything that you and I think as far as that application. And I love walking the walk with someone who's done it. And it's the hard stuff. Mark and I have always said real estate is simple, not easy. The simple part are the things we have to do to eat. The hard things, the consistency of doing it. And we feel like what we've aligned here is putting, to Chris's point, the people in front of you that are doing it. They're doing it consistently. They are achieving success in today's market, in the challenges. True leaders ride the waves, right? They don't just stand there and wait for the water to calm. And we've got to get rid of the excuses. Let's have the hard part of the talk. We've got to move out of the stagnant water that we're in and stop having the excuses that we've used and work. I truly believe that.
Yeah. And that gets back to mindset, actually, because there is brain science behind how our brain responds to a challenge. And the simple way to talk about this would be just everybody on this call, think of a challenge that you've overcome in your life and how proud you are of overcoming that thing. And our brains are actually wired to try and simplify things. And the simple thing is go isolate yourself, don't go forward, don't take risks, don't do new, just keep doing the same. But the things that we look back on and are most proud of are the things we've overcome, the challenges that we've pushed through. The other really interesting thing is most of us don't recall all the speakers we've seen before. We don't recall all the books we've read. We remember one line, one phrase, one quote, one bit of motivation. We remember one great good advice from somebody, and it was that one little nugget that we carry forward in our lives. And I just think if you look at an event like Summit, and you think, gosh, it might just not be worth it. Like, what if one phrase changed your life? What if one simple conversation with a partner or peer or agent or whomever changed the way that you think about business? What if you got one thing that changed your business plan for 2026? What if one best idea, best practice that was shared in a group setting changed the way you thought about this and revolutionized the future of your ability to take care of yourself, your family, and your loved ones? That's like something really worth being a part of. And you'll look back and think, gosh, why did I even doubt that? That was totally worth it. So,
and I love what you said about that has changed your life, Chris. Sorry, Kathy. You said changed your life, and Jessica said earlier in the chats, it's a life event. It's not a real estate event. It's a life event. And I want to share one of my, I can't even remember her name, but Allison, we heard from Allison at a base camp event once who summited Mount Everest. And she said part of the strategy of going up to Everest because of the lack of oxygen at the top was you had to take one step forward and then a couple steps back. And then you had to take another couple steps forward and then a couple more steps back. And that for me changed my life. I don't, just not even in my job, that was my everyday, is sometimes you've got to take those couple steps back as a strategy to take a couple more steps forward. So I bet everybody in this chat has something, who's been to Summit has something that changed their life and wasn't just
Cory.
That's what I was going to say. Put in the chat, what's the one thing?
yeah.
A
And it came out
quote.
of nowhere. She wasn't a wonderful speaker. And I think I was running around at the time trying to do other stuff. And I heard that and it just changed everything. Tom Ferry speakers too. Sorry, Kathy, I keep jumping on you. Shout out to Tom Ferry people too. I'll just say back to Chris's point, don't block it off because it's a Brian Buffini and you're a Tom Ferry person. Have that open mindset that we can learn from anyone all the time. And you can love and absolutely be a Tom Ferry person. We support all of you for doing that because you're getting coaching, wherever you're getting it, you're getting coaching. So Kathy.
I might be making this up. So correct me if I am. I think I ended up having dinner that night with Allison, and you wouldn't have known that. However, I think she's a speaker that we moved a couple of times.
We did.
And we ended up, when we ended up moving her to that particular time, it was like the universe said, you know, we didn't need her then. We need her right now, because I think that message landed so incredibly well with so many people. That's what I'm saying, guys. This is bigger than we're going to throw together an agenda. This is much, much bigger than that. We've listened. We know that everyone has a voice, and we're acting upon what people need in this market at this time to serve you.
I don't trust that you had dinner with her, Kathy. Since you think Brian Buffini is a bus driver, I'm not convinced.
But that's how I end up talking to a lot of incredible people is. And one thing I want to say, while I want people to put in again, what was that one life-changing thing? One thing, and Chris, I want to give you some kudos for this, and I don't want to speak for Cory, but in our first level up session, which is one of our coaching sessions that you can find on onecoaching.com, you said, I can do hard things. And over the past 18 months, and I don't want to get emotional, I can't tell you how many times I've heard your voice say, Kathy, you can do hard things. And I've pushed when I could have folded. And I chose to listen to a voice that encouraged me when you didn't even know you were. So thank you.
100%.
You're welcome. Well, can I just say that to everybody then? I think sometimes we need a voice of encouragement when we don't feel like we can do it, when it feels too hard, when we wake up anxious, nervous, worried about how we're going to pay the bills, pay the mortgage, whatever it might be. And I think sometimes we just need another voice in our lives that just says, look, you can do this. You can do hard things. And one of my favorite podcasts to listen to is the Huberman podcast. And this is a professor, doctor out of Stanford in neuroscience and ophthalmology or something crazy. This guy's smart, but he will fill your brain with all kinds of science. What they have found, and I'm happy to share this with anybody who wants, but what they found is that there's a part of your brain that grows when you do hard things, and it shrinks when you pull away from hard things. And when that part of your brain grows, it makes you more resilient and more tenacious going forward. And so that's why sometimes we have people in our lives that just feel like they can overcome any challenge and obstacle. And then you have other people in your lives that are like, man, they just quit. Like, why are you quitting? Don't quit. You can get through this. And I just think we need some people in our lives, within community, within this brand, who just say, look, you can do this. Here are some ideas. Here are some ways. Here's what I do when I wake up. Here's what I do when activities every day. You can do hard things. It's not easy, but it's worth it. You can do hard things. And so again, that's not a message about Summit. That's a message about life. Imagine what other life principles you could pick up from people by just being around some other people for a couple days. Don't isolate. Get around some great people.
You know, Chris, I've just got to say to everyone, imagine if I'm getting some private messages that I don't feel I should share. They mean a lot to me, but I'm also reading some of the messages, and I can just imagine if people are being impacted by this One Primetime, imagine what it'll do when you're in the room with people. Imagine the difference it's going to make. And I love that message. I believe that. I'm living that. So what I would like to say is thank you for all the kudos.
So the onesummit2025.com is the website where you register. So please, please do. Please encourage your friends. I listen to Mel Robbins' podcast, and she says, if this spoke to you, if this said something to you, share it with your friends. That's not for, we don't the ticket sales or whatever. We just want the people that you care about in your life and the agents that you know and connect with to be there with you and with us. So please share that with us. On that website are links to the hotel rooms. I just want to do a quick deal on hotel rooms. So we don't have one big hotel block this year. We have several. We wanted you guys to have a choice. We also want you to Airbnb, VRBO, whatever works for you. Just please get familiar. Most of the event is going to be around the Eden Rock in South Miami Beach. So it'll be around the Eden Rock. So we have some space at the Eden Rock, Fontainebleau, Hilton, Radisson. Those are all hotels within there, but you can get your own. Just please do me a favor and book your hotel rooms. There is another event in the area. And so I don't want to get to September, October and have you wait. Know your cancellation policies, but please book. I only have one bathtub, so only one person can sleep in there so that's it. I have one place to offer. Go book your hotel rooms. Make sure you do that. Register. We're still going to have things. The welcome reception is going to be the big party this year. So it will be it's going to be an international flavor. We have representatives, I can't believe this, from 25 countries who are coming to One Summit. So we talk about painting the globe gold, but there will be people from 25 countries coming to Summit. So make sure that you're at the welcome reception. That is our black and gold party, but not formal. So casual. So anybody who dropped off this call, who wears your prom dress to welcome reception, we're going to know that you dropped off this call. That is a casual black and gold, but exciting welcome reception. So please be there. That's Sunday night at the Eden Rock. The rest of the agenda is going to be updated and kept on onesummit.com. So that's women's luncheon, top producer reception, all those things will be updated there. A lot of that's up there, but we'll keep updating that site. That is where you go. Sorry, I had to do the practical. I wanted to leave it on the all things wonderful, but we had to hit that.
Is it white and gold or black and gold?
Wearing it, Tammy Cole. I think she might be right. I think it's white and gold. And I think that was an epiphany that Cuba had a couple weeks ago. We will highlight that in the one-on-ones, and we'll highlight that on the website for you guys so that you don't show up in your prom dress black and gold, which incidentally, my high school prom dress was black and gold. Okay.
I'm excited. Thank you all for being on the call. Thank you, Chris, Cory, Gary. We could be a singing group. That's all I'm going to say.
Let's try it. We
could be a gospel. Get your guitar. Get your guitar. We'll be a gospel singing group. Okay.
Carrie hit end call.
Thank you. As always, this is going to be posted on One University and also on our YouTube site. So visit us again.
Bye.